Sprig was another Woody Guthrie song. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. We conclude our conversation with Trump biographer Wayne Barrett, who's tracked the Republican presumptive presidential nominee for decades. His biography of Trump has been republished as an e-book. It's called Trump, the Greatest Show on Earth, The Deals, The Downfall, The Reinvention. Juan Gonzalez and I interviewed him last week at his home in Brooklyn. I asked Wayne about those harmed by Trump's business practices, from the Polish workers who built Trump Tower to the investors in the casino he never built in Mexico.
His pathway to success is littered with bodies. You know, I hear him talk about the thousands of Latinos he's employed. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm sure, Juan, you're aware there are almost no Latinos in Atlantic City. You couldn't employ Latinos in Atlantic. There's a lot of black people there, but it has no significant Latino population. I was in and out of his casinos all the time. I never saw many Latino workers. I don't know where these thousands of Latinos that have supposedly worked for him have worked for him, but it wouldn't be Atlantic City, and I don't know where else he ever employed thousands of people. And certainly the Taj, for example, just talk about the Taj, which was, at the time, you know, he had this incredible downfall where his personal life, this is when he dumps his wife and children and goes with Mahal at the same time when he was on this fast track, 87, 88. 88 was the disaster year, that, you know, where he makes one bad judgment after another. So he is trying to get the city of New York, Ed Koch, to support the building of the tallest skyscraper in the history of the country on the West Side Yards for NBC headquarters. And at the same time, he takes on the Taj, which will be the largest casino in the history of the world. So he doesn't get the approvals from Koch. So he doesn't build the NBC Tower on the West Side, but he goes ahead and tries to build the Taj. And he so over-leverages everything. Junk bonds, adding to cost all over the place. Just one bauble after another. It was just, so it was doomed from the day it opened. It could never make the payments. It could never make the bond payments. And so they stiffed all the bondholders, but they also stiffed all the small contractors in Atlantic City, you know, guys, you know, mom and pop shops who did all the work there. I used to walk through it while it was under construction, and the place was just filled with contractors. I talked to many of them, and they didn't know they were all going to get stiffed in the end, but they got 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar or nothing. And he just stiffed so many of them. So small businesses went out of business.
What about the Polish workers at Trump Tower?
The Polish workers at Trump Tower became a kind of famous case. The Bonwit Teller building was part of the site. And this, you know, when you look at that site, this is the genius of Donald Trump, how he managed to assemble that site. It's, you know, I don't think he can find a better site in America, maybe in the world, than the location that he had. So that was part of his genius at the time, was assembling these kinds of sites and making these acquisitions. But he was completely unconcerned about the workers who worked in the demolition of the Bonwit Teller building, who literally slept there. And they were all immigrant Polish workers, hundreds of them, many of whom got very sick as a result of working on that site. He's always tried to put some distance between, but his office was right across the street. His office was, you know, with how he could claim that he didn't know what was going on in that site, which has been his claim. And there's no question but that these workers were abused to an enormous degree.
Wayne Barrett, we wanted to ask you about Donald Trump's wives. He's married 3 people, Ivana Trump, Marla Maples, and Melania Trump. They factor in significantly in his campaign. Ivana Trump actually accused him of raping her. Can you talk about the significance, especially as he moves into attacking Bill Clinton, not because of Bill Clinton's behavior with his wife per se, but with other women.
Yeah, it's a real irony that that he has the balls to do this. I watch the children in these shows, and they're given remarkable deference by television journalists. I mean, they treat them as if they're Heidi Cruz's kids. They don't ask them, "Oh, do you love your papa?" That seems to be the only question that they can ask him. And he appears to be a good father. But if you're a good father, okay, you're going to go through a divorce. A lot of good fathers and mothers have gone through divorces. They don't leak best sex I ever had stories to be plastered all over the tabloids while their 13-year-old son is going to school.
Explain what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Donald milked the divorce, the breakup with part of his shtick. One of the reasons white males love him so much in this campaign is they think he's a stud. Right? I mean, Marla Maples was a beauty, classic American beauty, So the whole thing that he fed during that divorce, which was
his divorce with
Ivana, yes, was just so incredibly ugly. And it was damaging to the children. And then he got into a fight with Ivana over who gets what in the end. And he wanted Eric's computer. They fought over Eric's computer, right? Yes, I mean, and so his treatment of Ivana, the mother of his first three children, was just deplorable. And then Marla already has the child before they get married, right? And so when he breaks up with her, she signs a confidentiality agreement. So, the two of them, their lips are sealed. But when she thought he was running for president in 2011, she was doing an interview in Britain, in London. And she said, if he runs for president, I'm going to have to tell the world what he's really like. And Trump's lawyers go immediately into court. And then they actually stood out after they got some sort of a order from the court, and she's completely silenced, and we'll never hear from her again. They actually stood in front of the courthouse and said she had proven that she was a bimbo. That's what they said. So, I mean, the way in which he has treated his wives is just, it's really deplorable. I wrote in the book that Donald took the Fifth Amendment 100 times during the course of the divorce proceedings in his deposition, questioned by Ivana's lawyers about other women. And the Division of Gaming Enforcement down in New Jersey reviewed my book. And they actually got his deposition, which I didn't have. I had an estimate that came from a very knowledgeable source. And so I said 100, and they corrected me and said, no, we only took the Fifth Amendment 97 times. Keep that in mind when you hear from Donald Trump about the deposition that Bill Clinton did about Paula Jones, which was the basis of the impeachment. And so here's Donald apparently not committing perjury, but refusing to answer 97 questions about other women, which I think says an awful lot about his marital life.
So, Wayne, you've been doing this work for decades, and here you are after following Donald Trump for almost half a century, publishing a book again, a revised and updated book on Donald Trump. What keeps you going?
Donald does these days. I've been very sick, and so I decided when he started emerging, which was a total surprise to me, really, that he would be this big. So I've opened my door here. I've had 50, 60 reporters come through here. I kept all my old Trump files. Most of them are in this basement. Some of them are down in the house in Ocean City. And reporters have come through. Here's one team of 2 spent 3 days in my basement. And so I've been an open door to every reporter. I haven't written much myself, one little piece, but I intend to write some. And, you know, I think it's a civic duty.
Why?
Well, he's not, it's more than that he's something unlike anything. I mean, I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat. I have voted in my life for candidates on the Republican line. Not often, but sometimes. But I think that this is a man who is, he's really not qualified to run the Trump organization. He's not fit to run the Trump organization. So he's certainly not fit to run America. The Trump organization is a fairly substantial real estate company, certainly not one of the biggest in Manhattan, as the Times demonstrated. But it's, you know, it has some impact on some lives. And he's so unconcerned about the impact that he has on some lives, whether there's any positive element to it, that I don't even think he's fit for that. But I think he represents not just a danger to America, but because we are such an influence in the world, it's really a shocking threat to the world. And so, you know, I'm in a sick bed a lot, but he gets me up out of it.
Wayne Barrett, investigative reporter who worked at the Village Voice for 37 years and continues to report. Juan Gonzalez and I spoke to him last week at his home, where he's largely been confined due to his battle with lung cancer. Wayne Barrett's biography of Trump was just republished as an e-book. It's titled Trump, the Greatest Show on Earth, The Deals, the Downfall, the Reinvention. Visit our website at democracynow.org to watch, listen to, or read part one of our interview with Wayne Barrett that we ran last week. We have